Hey guys, Coach Dan here. We are gearing up this morning for an early back session, pull session for the day. So that's should be good. So we're again back at the new gym now. This should be a cracker of a session because some of these back machines are pretty hectic. So we're going to go through those. So how I've sort of set this week up. I kind of didn't do this intentionally, but I've just been sort of practicing. So I'm going to sit down over the weekend and make sure all the workouts piece together nicely. This week I've sort of been trying some new machines, feeling them out, and then over the weekend I'll kind of put them all together such that it makes sense for me. So for today being a pull workout as an example, I want to make sure I select exercises that aren't just doing the same thing over and over again, even if they're really good machines. I want to make sure it's well balanced so I'm working my back on the overall. Now, something to consider is that currently in my part of the world, it is starting to cool down a little bit. So this morning it's feeling a bit fresh. We're headed towards winter in my part of the world. So if this is you, this is the time to kind of get into good routines and habits. When it's pretty cold outside, it's really tough to get out of bed. It just makes life really hard. So if you are someone who is not in a good routine and you're thinking, oh, I'll start, in a couple of weeks, and you're in a part of the world where it's only going to get colder, you want to get that stuff started now, because when you have to get out of bed and it's cold and there's, if you live in a place that there's frost, that makes it harder. There's all these things that get in the way and make it a little bit harder to get going in the morning or just in general to get going. So it's a bit of a meme, but that's usually in winter. Gyms get much quieter and people go missing. You've got the big New Year's rush, but by winter everyone's sort of back in bed. So even if you're headed in towards a warmer season in your part of the world, that is a great time to build habits, because there is one less thing that's getting in the way. There's one less thing that's holding you back. So build the habits so they can last through the tougher times. You're not getting to winter and going, oh, I'm not going because it's cold. It's like, no, I'm just going anyway because that's the habit that I'm in. So, all right, let's hit this back workout. So again, I've got a couple of machines to try. Not sure if this workout will pull together perfectly, but when I put it all together over the weekend, it should be good by next week. But again, just get in there, try hard, and that's good enough. See you at the first exercise. Okay, so exercise number 1 is going to be a chest supported row, pin loaded. This particular variation of chest supported row is. I've already practiced this just kind of like in between working sets of other exercises just to see what it's like, and it feels quite good. Again, the angle, we're going to go with a neutral grip. So neutral grip being palms face towards one another. The machine next to us, we're going to go to overhand grip. So we're just trying to piece together exercise that, again, it's using all of the muscles that we want, basically, and of those muscles, all of that muscle. So what I mean by that, I'll use a specific example, is that if this is trying to train the upper back and we have kind of a path where it might train the lower part of the upper back, so down where you squeeze the shoulder blades together, then we might get an exercise which also goes up and it's kind of like towards the top, so you almost like that shrugging motion as well. So we're using all the traps and all of the upper back. So with this one, we're going to strap in. So we've got this chest support here. We're going to reach over, grab the handles. We're going neutral grip, so palms facing towards one another. Then you'll lock into place, rowing back, squeezing shoulder blades together. So nothing to that one other than allowing a nice large range of motion, so your shoulder blades essentially stretch across the top of the pad, and then you're squeezing those shoulder blades at the back. So for most back exercises, I'm going about 10 to 15 reps, and this one we're going to start no different, and then we can figure out if we want to change. Potentially I might start within my training doing a heavy set at the beginning. So a heavy set might be something along the lines of, doing a first set of like 6 to 8 reps to make sure I tick that box, and then working to the moderate or lighter weights. For me personally, I just have always found that I get a better connection with some of the lighter weights, like in that 10 to 15 range most specifically. So it's not light, it's just a little bit lighter. Whereas some people might have a preference to do 6 to 8. Again, whether you like one of those or the other, you need to be training hard enough. So if I do 6 to 8, it's got to be really hard 6 to 8. If I do 10 to 15, it's got to be really hard 10 to 15, and they should be equal for growth according to what we currently know within research. Training close enough to failure with multiple rep ranges can be equal, right? All right, we are going to build up to the weight. Again, I don't know what it is because this is my first time doing this machine at a decent intensity, so I'll find a weight that we're going to work at, and I actually might start with a 6 to 8 set and see how that feels. All right, see you at the first set. Upper back row number 1 feels good. Upper back feels warm and a bit lit up, so that's a good sign. Not too much this one. It's just called, it's a Body Masters 213 rowing is what it's called. Feels good, feels smooth, feels like a good angle for training my upper back. So I'm happy with that. So again, the two that we've got today, just by chance are similar-ish. But again, what you'll see about this next one in a second, which is right next to us, is here. I'm going to take an overhand grip just to mix it up just enough. Now, if I look at it over the weekend and I find that potentially these two are too similar in movement, although after doing a full 3 sets in that one, I don't think this is going to be the case. But we could always split these up on a different days. But from what I felt from that one from practicing it the other day, just having a play around on it, it's good. So again, we'll feel these two out. If they're too similar, we can split them up, make sure they're on days where maybe some of the other exercises aren't doing the same thing. So, okay, let's shift over and give you a look at this next one. Good start, let's go. All right, well, we're at next door for the next row variation. So now from over here, we had a neutral grip, kind of coming through the center part of the chest. This one now we're going to sort of aim a little bit higher, again, just to make sure they're doing a slightly different job and we're ticking all the boxes. So very unique machine. I've never tried this one here. All it's got is it's a Nautilus low friction. Any other description factors of that, I don't know. So far what I do really like is that, again, it's really hard in the stretch position, which is probably the most beneficial for muscular growth. And then it sort of eases off as we get through here. So it kind of matches how our strength is, but also making it hard where it appears to be most important for muscle growth. So I'll give you a quick demo. So it's another chest supported variation. I'm taking a top handle here. So it's an overhand to make it slightly different from what we've done before, just again to tick all those boxes. Sit down with it, squeezing shoulder blades. Roll the shoulders forward, squeeze. So when I first got on here and had a play with it, I was like, I don't think that's going to be an excellent one. But after a bit of practice, you just sort of feel what should be working. It's just completely different to other rows that I've done and been doing. So we can hopefully say that it's working a different part of our back. So with that in mind, I will find the weight. It's not going to be too much more than what that just was. That was maybe about right, maybe 1 plate heavier. 2 sets here, 3 sets on that other back. Then we'll work into some more lat dominant movements. All right, let's go. All right, so this is another unique back movement to me. I've never tried this machine in whole, like I practiced it since it's been here, or since I've been here, just practicing it, and it seems quite good. So it's a pull down variation that's kind of coming on a quite a unique angle. It's like not 45 degrees, but it's also not like a standard lat pull down. And it feels really good for just kind of keeping that elbow and locking it right into the, like close to the body, like you're driving it down towards your hip, which is part of the job of the lat. So already some of the things I'm having to figure out is what weight I need to lift, because I've never done it before, and also my setup. So what I've kind of come to is I'll get a handle, lock myself in, it's a slight lean back, and then pulling down into that pocket like such. So a slight lean to the side as well seems to be good there, so I can line it up so it's nice and close to my body. So on the other side, lean out such it's lined up, elbow down into the pocket. Big stretch at the top. So motion here, big stretch this way, keep the arm close, pop it into the pocket. So think about what we've done so far, has their arms a little bit away from the body, this and this. So focusing on the upper back, so focusing on the shoulder blades coming forward and coming back, so we can get those traps as jacked up as possible. Rear delts, rhomboids, all that will come into that. This is now about lat, and the next exercise after this is about lat. So now it's arm close to the body, driving it in towards the spine, squeezing down like that. So this feels pretty good. That might be the weight I work for a first set of 6 to 8, and then might bring it back down for a lighter set. So yeah, just gonna take some time to figure out, line up correctly, practice. I kind of like a little bit of lean back on this one as well, it would appear. But again, just going to come with a bit of experience and practice. So we'll take 1 to 2 minutes here, and then we'll smash out the first working set, making it nice and hard. Here we go. That's what she said. All right, so that is a single arm lat pull down variation. So in recent times, these have become popular, doing from like a cable machine kneeling, which gets you pretty similar. I like the fact that we can lock in here, but again, some of the things to be able to figure out is kind of where to position yourself, where to lean forward, back. The weight I wasn't aware of, so I had to practice to find the weight. But again, the motion of the lat, or what the lat does to your arm, if you ignore my forearm and hand, one of the lat's main jobs is to flex your, extend your humerus, right? So if the lat comes in and attaches to the front of your arm and then wraps around your back down in towards your spine and towards your pelvis, its job is to pull that upper arm in that direction there. But we want to keep it close to the body, because the further we come away, now we allow some other things to contribute a little bit more and put them in a better position to work, like your traps, rear delts, things like that. If we stay tight, it allows the lat to be as biased as possible and make sure that's a big worker. So from here, we're now going to a seated row variation. So we've pulled kind of from above, now we're going to pull from this. So challenging the lats from both that down towards the pelvis or the iliac part of the lat, and now we're going to come towards the thoracic part of the lat, some of the fibers that come in towards the spine. All right, I'll show you my variation for seated row. It is quite good, big stretch. It feels really good, so I'll show you that in a sec. Let's go. Next up, we are going with a seated row. What do I call this one? Flexion seated row, something like that. So a standard seated row, you just kind of lock into place here like this and row like such. But what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to let my spine flex, like everything stretch out, get this big ball of stretch through the lats as well, and then finish with the row like such. So this probably now becomes a bit of an overall back movement. But again, the lats get jacked up because it's massive stretch. But also, yeah, we've got spinal flexion and extension. So some of the erectors will work here, but I'm not mad at that because this is my last back exercise, just getting everything smashed to finish off. I'm pretty okay with that. So let me give you a quick demo. So I'm going with a neutral grip, a narrowish kind of one, which gets, again, big lat stretch at the top. So we lock in really tight. I actually actively let my spine flex, which is what we're not taught to do a lot of the time when lifting. Get a big stretch and then pull like a standard seated row. So you don't have to go further than your mobility or flexibility allows. Just get your version of a big stretch. Actively let the spine flex. Stretch all the erectors out, stretch everything out under a decent amount of control, and then finish with that row as well. Flex, big stretch, row. Stretch, row. So it will get the lats, but also some of the erectors and some of the other butt muscles as well, just to kind of cap the back workout off. All right, let me show you what a hard set is. I don't know what weight I'll be using with this cable machine, so I'll build up to something and then I'll show you set one. All right, so that's the flexion row. Good, yeah. Big stretch, feels real nice on the lats. So what I did there towards the end as well is partial reps. So I started off pulling the handle all the way till it hit my belly. When I could no longer do that, I kept going until my arms couldn't get to the level of my body anymore. Felt like the stimulus increased. Felt like my strength out here was, my strength in close to me. I couldn't do that many, but I could continue on with those lengthened reps, which makes sense for pulling movements. You're normally weaker at the end. The same goes for pull downs.
So finishing off with partials can be a way to get some extra stimulus. So nice one, give that one a go. Flex the whole spine, big stretch through the back and the lats. Extend the spine, drive the arms in. I go with this narrow neutral grip, but I've tried a slightly wider grip. That was pretty sweet as well. You can try the long handle, really whatever suits you. So give it a try. All right, let's get 2 tickets to the gun show. Biceps next. All right, we have a bicep exercise coming up next using the cable machine, functional trainer, small cable machine, whatever you want to call it. So this cable machine is pretty cool because these arms have lots of adjustments they can make. They can go out like this, like normal, but also change height like such. So in that we can really customize it quite well. But if your cable machine isn't like that, it's just a standard one, comes around here, this exercise will work well. In fact, I've been doing it up until coming to this gym. But what you'll do, so if you've got a cable machine like this, I've set the handles pretty narrow. I've got a chair in front of the cable machine. I'll step forward and through, get my seat position, lock in from here, and then while my arms are behind my body, I'm curling from there. So now, a lot of the value in an exercise like this is we get big stretch through the bicep because the bicep is a muscle that passes the elbow and also passes the shoulder. So in that situation, straightening the elbow is stretching the bicep out, but putting the arm behind the body is stretching the bicep out that little bit more. So that's number one, we get the arm behind the level of body. Number two is that we set the cable height such that it's hard at the beginning. So you would think if the cable's all the way at the bottom, it will not start getting hard until we start to go up, till we directly start opposing the cable machine. Here we can set it at a height that's hard at the beginning and then gets easier towards the end as kind of matches what appears to be best for muscle growth. So stretch, making it hard in the stretch, that seems to be a good thing for muscle growth. So this will be the setup. Again, this will be my first time using this cable machine, so it might take me a set or two to find my weight. Biceps is a big focus for me at the moment. A bit of a weaker point is my arms. So I got 5 sets here. 8 to 15, 10 to 15 reps, somewhere in there. Working hard. Maybe we figure out a couple little pointers as we go. But let's see. Let's see how it goes. All right, catch you there. All right, so that's the behind the back seated cable curl. So again, getting the arm behind the back, bicep stretch. Setting this at a height that it's hard at the beginning, which means about equal to the height of like where your hand is, but even then, your arm starts to curl as it comes down. So your elbow's going this way, or your arm is going this way first, so making it hard from that position there. Whew, is probably pretty good, but that felt excellent. Nice and close to the body. Keep the arm behind the level of the body. Big stretch, and you just have to come in here. Seated gives me a bit of stability, and let's be honest, I just like sitting down. So you could do that standing. You could do that with a cable machine that doesn't adjust like this, that's wider. It would just be your arms coming from wider. I've done that, and that feels probably equally as good. All right, we're not going too far. We're going to try a lateral raise version here, lying down, because I like sitting and lying down. Let's go. Okay, we're at the same cable machine, but now we're going to do a lateral raise variation. So I've been doing this on my other push workout, but again, haven't sort of incorporated everything perfectly programming wise. Next week I'm going to sit down over the weekend and sort it all out, but I'm going to try it on this cable machine today. So again, got to figure out weight, got to figure out position of these arms because they can move. I've been doing it just a standard functional trainer that says standard width, cannot adjust, but I'm going to do it on here today. So we go opposite to opposite. We lock in. I've got my wrist straps, help with grip. And I'm going to lie down with them. And essentially where I've set the cable height, I'm going to take my path of my arm to directly go against that. So that's why setting the height of the cable machine at the beginning is quite important, because that can kind of determine where our arm's going to go. So I know if I set it there, I'm going to go directly against that resistance versus trying to set it lower, higher, and then kind of trying to force my movement against where that's not really lined up. So we want to go directly against the resistance. So in this position, I set it at a height that I kind of know I want my arm to go in that position. And then I just have to think about lining up and going directly against that. Don't have to think about anything else. All right, let's take a set or two to find our weight, and then we'll get into it. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure about this one because I've figured out a setup at another cable machine. Again, just practice. Feel it out, find what feels best. Once you get it, note it down, then it's easy to set up each time. All right, let's go. Lying incline cable lateral raise. Feels good. I don't know what that looks like, so I'll see these videos. I can't really get a good look at a mirror from this position, but it feels really good. So I've been doing this on my other push day, but I believe I'll try and find a spot for it in the week, wherever, even at this new gym. This feels quite good. So some things to consider there is the reason I quite like this one is because the bench just sets you in a position that you cannot cheat. Or maybe you could, but you'd have to really rock your body. If I stand there and do a standing version of this, just without even thinking, you start to kind of shift back and forth and stuff like that. And yeah, that's not what it's about for me. We want to isolate the shoulder. So keeping your body still, not creating momentum, makes a lot of sense. You could do the other way. You just have to lift heavier weight. And you might go, oh yeah, that's fine. But essentially lifting heavy weight just puts more strain on your body. So you may as well do it with good technique, and the weights will get heavier over time. With the height of this, I kind of make it such that it kind of comes down and across my body. You can make it go across here. You can do whatever feels good for you. So I think, yeah, that's something that I have thought somewhat regularly about, is like doing lateral raise or side delt movements. You can do it where it comes across the body, into the body, behind the body, through the legs. Like I've done a whole variation of these, and you know, maybe you get too caught up thinking, oh, what's best for it? But it's like, over the course of time, I would just make sure that I do different variations of this to tick all the boxes. Doesn't have to be all in the same program, but across time. So, you know, maybe in my current program, I don't have a lateral raise which comes across my body like this, but they come into my body like this. And then, you know, next program, I will do one like that. And then the program after, I'll do one where they come behind the back. So you've got all these options. And again, I'm not super concerned with like what is the best one for the side delt. Do them all across time. If they all feel equally effective, that's all that matters. Make it feel effective, try hard, do enough of it, go to town. We're happy with that. Okay, I've got a funky bicep curl variation or preacher curl machine I'll show you here in a sec. It looks quite interesting. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure how it will go, but I want to give it a try. So I'll see you there. So this is the preacher curl contraption I'm going with today. Now it looks like a bit of a torture machine or something like that. Now I'm just interested, so as I curl here, what I've noticed about this is it starts off where the handle is far away, and then as I come through the curl, the handle actually slides up. So what this will mean for the movement is that it will be harder down here, which is usually what we want, harder when it stretches, and easier up here. So this is pretty intriguing to me. This machine looks like it was made in the 80s, 90s, something like that. So it looks a bit unusual. When I first looked at it, I was like, yeah, that's a bit unusual. I'm not going to do that. But after getting on here, there might be something to this. The handles kind of rotate as well, so you can do what's comfy for you. And yeah, as you curl, this comes up like this. So you would expect that if it starts off down here, I'm further away from that point there, which in my mind, it should be harder down there. And then as you curl, it slides further towards that. I think that is how it's going to go. And from just doing a practice set there, that's what it feels like. So unusual, but I'm going to give this a go for 2 sets. See what I think. Maybe it's in the action. Maybe it's in the program, should I say, for this gym. But we'll have to put it through its paces and then see how the biceps feel after that. All right, see you in the first set. Ow. interesting, that one. So, yeah, it could go either way as far as... It does feel good, like it goes away. It's pulling, it feels like it's tearing your bicep away. So like it's really hard down here. But the fact that these move, it feels leverage-wise a little bit unusual, which is okay. My biceps feel fucked up. That's a good sign, but just a bit unusual. Maybe it'll just take a bit of practice and getting used to. There's another preacher curl which has similar concept, as in it is really hard down here, and as it comes in it gets easier, which is probably what we want in this situation. Now this makes it easier because this here pulls up like this. Oh, sorry, it goes from here, hard at the bottom of the curl, and then you get closer to this point, which I believe makes it easier, or it is easier. So I think that is what is making it easier. But yeah, a bit unusual. I did a heavier weight for the first set and the second set with a lighter weight, and that felt a bit better. So maybe lighter weight is the way to go. We'll see. See if it makes the cut when I crunch the numbers over the weekend, crunch the program, see if it's gonna make it. If it, we'll see how the first program looks for this new gym. So, all right, early morning session done. There's been no one in here the whole time, which has been lovely. Have had all the gym to myself, which is really cool. But let's go. Let's get out of here. All right, that's a wrap on the workout, guys. So that is week 1 done at a new gym. So the takeaways from this week for me is, if you've got experience in a place, yeah, it is okay to come in and play around and kind of tweak things and stuff like that and try some new machines and whatnot. If you don't feel as confident, just come in and do pretty similar to what you were doing before. And if you just kind of start with that and then slowly branch out and kind of try some new things and go, oh, this press variation or this pull movement looks and feels pretty good, and then you can experiment like that. So you don't have to come in and do what I've done, which is do a little bit of experimenting, kind of use this first week as a bit of a trial run to then set up my program for next week. So I'll sit down over the weekend and go, okay, what makes sense there? So if I'm thinking about back movements, making sure I'm doing different paths and training the back in some different positions to make sure I train the whole back. You know, same with pressing. You know, if I've been doing a hack squat, how is the hack squat weight comparably here? How does the machine feel here? And just kind of feel it out over this week. And then next week I'll be able to hit the ground running. So yeah, it's been fun. It's a good start, a good new gym. Older equipment, but that doesn't mean bad. So when machines have been made well, even if they are 20, 30 years old, if they are made well and they've been well maintained and stuff like that, and they train you how you're supposed to be trained, they match your strength curve, they make it hard where it's supposed to be hard to be effective for muscle growth, then it's a good machine. It doesn't mean if it's, you know, a little bit older or looks a little bit older or not as schmick as the new fancy stuff, is it worse? Definitely not. So that also does take a little bit of experience to be able to spot something and go, okay, I know that's going to be good for me because I can see that lever is a little bit different. But again, you just have to get on and try. And once you feel it out, you realize, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. The old row that I was doing had my arm going out here. How am I supposed to train my lat with my arm out here? I need to be in here, and that does it. You know what I mean? So practice, feel it out. If you don't know specifically, just have a go. Give it a go, and then go from there. And to reiterate from the intro, you know, where I live, we're getting colder and colder. There's been a couple of colder mornings this week. So if that is you as well, time to drill in some of these habits and routines now. Get going, get set on your routines and habits. So when it is really cold outside, if you get really cold, you're not sort of avoiding it. So when we are in really good habits, outside weather, our emotions, all this kind of stuff doesn't stop the habit as much, but you have to be in a good habit first. If you're going into warmer season, perfect for you as well. It'll be nice to kind of really build the habits throughout the warmer season, smash it out. So when it does come down, you know, you are ready to go. You are locked in. So, and it's just about reps, guys. You got to get in, and then eventually it becomes the normal. It becomes a habit, but you got to put the reps in, right? If you are in a place where your climate is always perfect, then you never have an excuse. So good for you. All right. As always, guys, if you like what I've got here, hit the subscribe button up here. If you want to see some of my other workouts at this new gym, hit this playlist up here. I've got all my workouts there. And always remember, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.